What's up? It's your host, Torry, and who is ready to be petty? Welcome back to another episode of RTBP. I'm back with Sophie from Unpaid Emotional Labor, and we are covering the reunion episode of Love is Blind Season 2. As you all know, we covered the full season last week. We did a video version, which you can find on Sophie's Patreon, and then the audio version on my feed. Same goes for this week. The video was released on Monday, and you're hearing this on Wednesday. But I highly recommend you watching the video version. It's really fun. I do some more prop work. So I just suggest you check that out. And it's been so much fun talking with Sophie these past 2 weeks, and I feel like the stars really aligned. They brought us together to talk about Natalie Lachey and Jessica Simpson. I've been singing What's Left of Me all day. We recorded at 8 in the morning. It is now past midnight, and I am still singing What's Left of Me. It's just a really good song. We're gonna cover more Nick and Vanessa with the ultimatum coming in April, so that's gonna be really fun. But it's been so nice chatting with you all in my DMs about the show, and I really appreciate everybody's opinions and, just really dissecting the show. So I want to give a shout out to Sakina. She slid into my DMs and we were talking a little bit about Shayne, and we were just talking about how maybe his facial expressions and body movements could be stimming, could be coming from something like Tourette's. We kind of jumped on the Coke bandwagon real quick. But yeah, after watching the reunion and just seeing, his body language, those kind of behaviors come out in stress, we just kind of jumped to conclusions in this series, and that wasn't super fair. So we don't know what's going on, but yeah, it's evident that there's something. And then Jade slid into my DMs, and this is something we didn't cover on the podcast, but just the conversation between Mallory and Jarrette. I thought that the way that Jarrette said that it was a joke was really underselling and just not an accurate description of their conversation at the beach. It was definitely not a joke. They were super intoxicated and they were talking about real things and both being kind of inappropriate. So kind of annoying that he kept insisting that it was a joke, even though it was an inappropriate joke. And again, I just don't think that that was the right word to really capture what happened. Anyways, if you have more comments and more insightful things that you want to talk about around the reunion, or anything that's happened on social media afterwards, feel free to reach out to me. I feel like some people were surprised that I responded. Trust me, I am desperate for attention and just desperate to talk to people about Love is Blind. So my DMs are always open. Okay, that's enough for me. Let's get to the show. Here is my conversation with Sophie.
I didn't think we'd start with the eye sweats. Sorry, we're crying. We're crying.
Okay, I just want to preface this with saying it is 8 a.m. where I am. So if this is...
And it's 10 a.m. in Chicago.
If it's this is more unhinged, that's why. I didn't have time to make a coffee because I was fucking slapping makeup on my face. I'm blow drying my hair.
Well, sacrifices for our fans and this chaotic universe that we've inserted ourselves in. No one asked for this. We're inserting ourselves, but you look great. And so is that coffee or tea?
Mm-mm.
Is that kind of
it's water.
A rush? It's water. Ooh, okay. Well, SOS.
So
I thought you were I didn't get to make my coffee the way I normally do it. I just instant in a piping hot cup. It's it's water.
No, we're struggling. We're struggling this AM.
And water is why am I in there?
Yeah.
It's similar to the bed community. Why am I being dragged into this?
Oh my God.
Oh, you know what I love about our chemistry is that I didn't even need to do my intro. Folks know what's up. We just delved into And I honestly, I think this might help me restructure my podcast episodes moving forward, because it's like, I didn't even need to do the intro, and I just love that we're diving into this.
Me too, because we need to get into it. Okay, so I think it would be fun to start with like maybe just like what were you most surprised about?
Just anything shocking that
Yeah,
came
or
out,
like
or
yeah, anything
okay.
that you're like, wow, this was not what I expected.
Right. I think I think we're gonna have to start with our gold mine. I think Abhishek saying, I mean, unfortunately, the only one I'm attracted to here is Vanessa.
Okay.
And the collective starts, and everyone started their pants, and obviously Nick Lachey, looking like his soul, he wrote "What's Left of Me" to talk about this moment in the future.
Okay, that's a bop though. Like
That
that's a fucking good song.
people were like, "Why are you using this in your stories?" Yeah, because I want to listen to it again, Karen. Like, yeah, I have it on my 90s, 2000s, 2010s playlist, but I wanted to listen to it again.
It's so fucking good. When
I have the video playing in my
Me
mind
too.
constantly.
Me too. And he has that same fucking faux hawk as he did in the
Same
video.
faux hawk. Oh, same medium shirt. We were just kind of like, oh, okay, can we get his blood pressure? I have some veins popping out. And so to see all of that 2006 glory aimed at Abhishek, and he was too stunned to see. And
his eyes were just shooting daggers.
I think that's the first, I can't remember what reality show, so it has to be the first in a long time where, besides Housewives, their reactions were so fucking like they were genuinely shocked. Like, that is good TV. Even though it's like a POS moment, even though it's like Abhishek's gonna get Me Too'd pretty soon, but it was like such a reality TV gold moment. Like, you can't make that up. We'll never get another Unfortunately I'm Only Attracted to You, Vanessa Lachey, and we all know where we were when that moment happened. So I just love this moment.
Okay, so I really want to talk about Nick and Vanessa too, because they contributed so much, like negatively and positively, to this reunion.
I hope we can carve out time to talk about
because they were such non-entities in the show that when they brought what they brought to this episode, I was shocked. I was so shocked, like, that they were actually getting like angry and like getting involved, and they seemed like they cared about the show.
What, and maybe, like, I think when we talked about last week that you didn't watch season 1, and so they were overrepresented in the episodes, and in the reunion they held back. So I think the whiplash of, we only saw them like sprinkled throughout maybe 3 episodes total, and then for them to literally be the stars of this reunion, it's like, I want this formula.
Yes.
You come out, you say your thing during the episodes, but then in the reunion, I want to be read to filth by Vanessa Clearly Lachey once in my lifetime. Like, the way she was coming for Abhishek's neck, I need this all the time.
I was shocked. Oh, and then the gross way she was like, "That's my man."
And she's like,
she was like, all
please.
She was like, "Ladies, stand back." Everyone's like, "Yeah, we're good."
And then Nick is visibly Nick is counting all the ways that if he assaults Abhishek, can he get out of this? He's like, no. Last time I tried to get out of something legal, Joe Simpson had a hold on me, and it was really hard. So you're seeing Nick count all the ways he can get up an assault charge, flashbacks, unlocking memories of Joe Simpson and the Simpson cult, and then his wife is choking him, trying to say, "This is what you guys want to hold out for. Love is blind, but if you have an affair, it'll all work out." Like,
yeah.
It was I need that chaotic, unhinged. I need those moments because them on the fly, they do their best work. Like
I
reading off their,
know.
being scripted, it's like, okay, we get it. Obviously, being cliche, but them off the fly, like when Nick thought he had his moment telling Abhishek, well, you treat animals.
Oh my God.
You don't treat eggs. I said good day.
You could just see him in his little beady eyes, and his brain was just working overtime. He was like, oh, the people are gonna love this. I'm now like the new like woke king. Like I stand up against poor behavior, like men's poor behavior. It's like you were basically Abhishek like fucking 10 years ago. And I was like, you're like a mixture of Kyle, Sal, like Shayne. Like I was like, you could have been put on the hot seat 10 years ago. I was like, have you changed as a person? That's what I wanted to know. That was one of my unanswerable questions in this reunion is like, is Nick, I was going to call him Nick Jonas, and then I was going to call him Nick Vial. Is Nick Lachey?
Like you listed like really terrible hits. Oh my God. Thought you were gonna throw in Nick Carter for good measure. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's literally the Rolodex that I was going through before I got to Nick Lachey. I think he thinks that he really did something with this reunion.
I mean, that vein bulging out of his periwinkle faux turtleneck. Like he really thought, he's like, ooh, you know what? I'm gonna school him. And then it didn't help that there was someone, I can't remember as many times, I literally have watched that clip 45 times, but as many times that I've watched it, there's someone that says, oh shit. And I'm like, who said that? Like, he did not say anything. I had to rewind. The first 20 times I watched it was to like, wait, what did he say? Did he say, you treat, like, because I was trying to get the zinger of like, what was this read? He didn't stick the ending.
No.
It was sloppy.
No, it should have been a one-liner, but it was like 6, like
6 and amendments because no. I mean, I love a vet. I love a vet like the next guy. And I'm like, if you're not, you have to amend your jokes. It's not. Let it go.
Oh my God, it was so brutal.
Then it turned into like you said, like this big woke moment, like hashtag I stand with the vet community. Like and it was just pure chaos for however many seconds it lasted. You had Shayne literally sharding himself. He did not want to be there. And then Abhishek is like, oh, wow, whoa, yeah. And I'm like, what did he say? He didn't say anything. And he's like, well, the vet community is going to be really pissed, Nick. I'm like, give this to inject this into my veins.
I know.
Okay. ASAP.
I know. So, okay, maybe let's just talk about Shake, because it's like, did you ever figure out, because I didn't, when this was filmed?
Yeah. So it had to have been filmed starting. So Love is Blind premiere. The season 1 film 2018.
Yeah.
It was around premiered in 2020. Then it got so big that I think that when it got so big, like in the heyday of the pandemic, before things got shut down, I think they were already casting in Chicago. So similar to how Sal was like, they told me, they probably found out that, production's going to be shut down, and they waited that first year. So I think early 2021 is when they...
Yes, because I heard that Danielle and... Is his name also Nick?
Oh my God, you know what? When I was making a meme last night, I was like, wait, is his name Nick? And it took me like
it
2...
is.
Yeah.
So they got married in June 2021.
Oh, you know what I was going to say also? It couldn't have been early 2021 because it would have been winter. So I think it was last summer.
Yeah, so it would have been last summer. So they're coming up on a year. And had they, at this point, when they did the reunion, known the public's reaction?
Yes, because because I found it had premiered, like it took so long to find a home to stream, or they weren't even, it accidentally landed at Netflix. Like someone took a chance on it, but they were trying to shop this show to like a CBS or like an and so it accidentally landed at Netflix, and I think it landed there to die. Like they didn't think anyone was going to watch it because it was over a year of trying to sell it. Exactly. And so I honestly, it was the formula of the pandemic where everyone was forced to like, what am I going to do all this time? And because it had premiered, I believe, around Valentine's Day, like early February. So people hadn't seen it until 6 weeks later. And then everyone's watching it. And so you're having these cast members watching it too. And then it got so popular, they had to film the reunion. And we got the reunion in springtime, I think. So that's a good, they had like over a year to curate their personas. And I feel like that was the energy I was getting with all of the men, but we can talk about that later.
Exactly. And like, even you can tell that they were prepared to ask the questions that they wanted to ask and like answer for some of their behavior.
Right. Like total sterile PR energy, and it enraged me. So I think maybe that's why I love those unscripted, unhinged moments, because like, come on, guys, like let's cut the bullshit. Y'all all came here. This experiment was, how can I become famous? Like, stop. They're trying to be like this quintessential couple in season 1, and you cannot be this couple. And it's like, after, like, we're talking about, like, for them to have stewed in what Love is Blind is and see how massive it got for over a year, and you're gonna pretend like, oh, well, I didn't know this has happened. And every single one of them were verified up until 4 days after the premiere. Some were verified immediately. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I hate that, like, deliberate ignorance. I have that same issue with the Bachelor franchise. And now I have it with these people. It's like,
and that's why the first seasons of shows like this are so much better, because they, like Too Hot to Handle was the exact same, because they don't have any of these like preconceived notions. But now it's like, I guess they can just get that from other reality dating shows. But like, okay, so I think also one of the most shocking moments for me was Kyle and Shaina basically admitting that they like got engaged just to like continue on with the experiment.
Speak on it. Now we're going to church. Like, I speak on it, because that part, I was floored.
Same. Especially that they aired it. That the producers heard that and like was like, oh yeah, we're okay with putting this out there, because it's like, we all knew it, but someone admitting it, and like on the TV show, not in like an interview, like somewhere out in the ether and like stuff like that, is so shocking. And it's like, no fucking shit. Like, both of you hated each other. Like, you didn't even like each other. And then, yeah, so obviously you did. And like, that's the other thing that I hate when people, I feel like I really changed my tune, because I'm like, oh my God, marriage, such a big deal, and getting engaged, such a big deal. But I'm like, on this show, it's not, because you just have to do that to continue on with the show. And when I was thinking about like Sal talking about how he like did put his life on hold for a year or whatever, or like, it's like, you're waiting for a year. You start filming and you're like, oh, I only get to film for 10 days if I don't propose to someone or act crazy. Because we found out that there was 2 couples that got engaged that just didn't make it to the second portion of the show. I'd be livid.
I would be livid. And apparently those couples are still together too.
Yeah.
And to know that my slot was taken up because of Kyle and Shaina and Abhishek and Nick, and Danielle, like, it's I would have been livid. And so I think, like you were saying, like, that luster or the innocence of the first season you can never recapture that. It's always going to be now these negotiations of how famous can I get and how can I manipulate this, blah, whatever whatever the formula is. And what's also an issue is they need to stop pretending that this premise works. And I know we talked about this last week, but it's like this whole idea that love is blind. And then between what Shake was saying, like his whole, like as his mind evolved, I don't know what he was talking about. And Kyle admitting that he was there to stay. He wanted to, what did he say? He said, I wanted to see if the experiment worked as you all did here. And I'm just like, you're trash. And then Shaina fumbling through and squinting and just like, yeah, we both wanted to stay on TV. So why are you asking me these questions like we're on Maury Povich?
Yes.
Like, what do you mean?
Yes. I feel like I'm Shaina right now trying to read my notes. I'm like, oh yeah, she did say that.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like the pursed lip and the squints. I love when she's like silently judging or like, are you fucking? Did you really just fucking say that?
Okay,
So yeah.
But like about her squinting, I read a full article about it.
So I was sent this article, and every time I saw the headline, unfortunately, to my followers, if you're listening, I would delete it because I am not going to read a whole article on Shayna as to why she squints.
I did.
Sis needs an optometrist, but that's why you're here. You're doing good journalism.
No, I'm not. Barely. Okay, but I can answer it. She has negative 5.25 prescription, which is actually, I think, like basically legally blind.
You're legally blind.
Love is truly blind for Shaina. And then she's like, I can't wear contacts or something because I have like astigmatism or something. And I was like, I think there's things for that, but like
I have astigmatism in one eye. I'm like a negative. Oh, actually, my prescription was fixed because my last optometrist was a fucking idiot. So yeah, I have astigmatism in my left eye, and I have contact prescription for that. So
yeah, I think she just needs like a new optometrist.
I think she's in denial. I want to believe that she believes love is blind, but she does not want to believe she is blind. And I stand with the legally blind community, and
I just like, yeah, it was just so funny how she was like, not a non-entity, but like definitely one of those smaller characters, and like just every reaction shot was just going straight to her.
Yeah.
Like we didn't see Deepti's reactions, didn't see Natalie until 45 minutes into the fucking episode.
Like I can't even.
But then Shane
and I think they photoshopped Mallory in there because where was she the whole episode?
Where was she?
She was literally
but don't worry, we got
added
Shaina.
in post. They added her in post. I'm like, oh, Mallory's still here. The fuck? But it's literally all of. But again, like did the producers understand the assignment? Were Shayna's squint reactions like perfectly timed, like each moment? Like it was, but -5.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
God damn. Maybe that's why she stuck it out with Kyle as long as she did, because he didn't come into focus until episode 5. She's like,
she didn't see that nose ring until.
Now we know why she left she went to the airport in her robe. Like I was always wondering, like literally till this day, like my meme was, wait a minute, did Natalie did Shaina just leave? And the shot is her in her robe with her 2 away suitcases because she had to promote. And it's because he finally came to focus with a -5.35 prescription. He leaned in, he's like, and she's like, that's who I've been talking to all this time. And she left in her robe, in her undergarments to the airport. She said, get me out of here now.
She couldn't have been out of there faster.
Not at all. And she's like, the hotel can charge me for stealing their robe. I will pay for it. Okay? He came into focus and the girl bounced. And Shaina,
Fair.
I stand with the legally blind community, but you're not wrong.
It's fair. Also, I didn't remember that Kyle didn't get down on one knee during his proposal. That should have been our biggest red flag, that he doesn't give a fuck about this TV show. He didn't even get down on one knee. All the other guys did.
And you know what it reminded me of? It unlocked when they went back to their bootleg proposal. It unlocked the memory. Oh shit, you didn't see it.
Oh, from
okay, maybe
season
you
one?
should go
Yeah.
see season 1 just for shits and
Yeah.
giggles, because there's some truly unhinged moments that are like, oh my, Giannina and Damien, you think Nick and Danielle are nuts?
I haven't seen anything.
Nick and Danielle are in a moose bouche of sorts. Giannina and Damien are the most, like, I would rather drink bleach than watch. They're no longer together, but I would rather drink bleach than watch them again. But it was literally chaos in the best way. And when they proposed, it was the most unhinged proposal I've ever seen in my life. And they each gave each other boxes, and they're like, hey, do you have the box? Okay, now look at the box. Okay, are you looking at it? Okay, now open the box. Do you have the box? Okay, in the box is another box. And in that box is, it was,
what was in the box? The ring?
Shout out to that beautiful scene in 7. What's in the box? And it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head. I wish it was Gwyneth Paltrow's head. At least it would have been entertaining. It was a ribbon. Okay, now tie that ribbon around your wrist. And then Damien's like, you can't. He's like, wait, what's going on?
He's like,
and then she's
holding it with it.
And Giannina has these, like, I don't even know what to call them. It's this, what she thought being a actress would mean playing in reality TV. Like, she's just standing, and she's like with her body, and she's just like in this, like, obviously fake voice. And she's like, okay, Damien, I told you that when I first met you that I was going to, it was just, oh my God, just thinking about it makes me want to die. I butchered it enough. I think you should go watch season 1 when you have time. Like, maybe wait until the summertime.
Yeah, I need to.
After you've exorcised this season.
Yeah.
But where was I going with this story?
Shaina
oh my gosh,
and Kyle being fake.
So Kyle was like, it made me, it was like the first indication when they showed that playback of like, oh, this guy not only watched season 1, but he studied it. That's how bad he wanted to be on the show. So when he had the box there and he's like, do you see the box? Oh, go get the box. Is it open? Are you looking in the box? And I'm just like, oh my God, this is Giannina and Damien, but like the dollar store version. Like, this is bad. So from day one, I think that Ninja Turtle wanted to be famous and didn't, he just wanted to be casted on anything. Yeah. So I apologize to my listeners and viewers for this crazy unhinged tangent. I didn't know, I kind of got lost in there sometimes, but
no, I'm obsessed.
When you're thinking about Giannina and Damien, like your brain will short circuit like mine.
Well, mine literally in this reunion did short circuit.
Oh, yeah, an hour and 2 minutes. Like, because you said your most shocking. So mine was Abhishek trying to make a pass at Vanessa, clearly Lachey. Yours was Kyle and Shaina admitting, yeah, we, took up screen time to be famous. What was there anything shocking that came out of the relationships, whether it's like where they stand now or certain things that happened behind, because they were breaking the fourth wall all like crazy.
Time.
Like they didn't care. They were telling on each other.
Yes,
they didn't give a fuck.
Out of the relationships, I think that like Natalie and Shayne actually did date afterwards. I think that Same. Was like the most shocking thing, and that Sal and Mal only got one coffee together, like not even a drink, a singular coffee, like Starbucks down the road. Like,
you think she wasted $7 on a venti? No. She took him to Joe's No, she took him to the coffee shops within the hotel. Like it's just there. Like when you don't even know what your barista looks like. You just literally stick your hand out and they put a cup of coffee in there and you walk to the exit. Like that's where they went and got coffee. I don't think they sat down.
No, they didn't.
It's the coffee shop where they don't sell pastries. It was Mallory hates Salvador.
Same. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to say that. I was gonna say I know. I was literally gonna be like, yeah, I know. Like you're right.
If you're just tuning in, Torry is channeling Abhishek with these like off the
outbursts.
With these Freudian slips.
Oh my God.
And I'm dead. You look so serious. You're like,
oh my God. Okay, and this was another fourth wall break when Mallory was like, oh, I was blackout drunk talking to Jarrette about the ring.
Yeah, because that's when J-Lo comes out. Like, the fact that they didn't even see it, it was so apparent. Her accent changed. She was like
swearing,
all over the place.
She was doing hand gestures.
Yeah, and it's like, like, the kind of like I'm a guy's girl, and like, like sporting events, and I'm like, wait, what? That's your equation for being a guy's girl? You like to go to sporting events? Yeah. It was a lot of unintelligible drunk. Oh shit, I'm realizing that I made the wrong decision by picking Salvador. Like, how could they not have seen that she was, knocking back a few? Not that it's, as Sal said with his calm and manicured rage, Sal freaks me the fuck out. And if I was to see him walking down Racine Ave, I would fling myself in front of a bus instead of stay on the same sidewalk as him. But back to Mallory, yeah, of course she was, like, we could see that. She was not all the way there. And so, like, I the one coffee, like, I think she was just kind of like, I'll just do this.
As a
maybe
formality.
It'll get me more screen time. Yeah. And at the wedding, for someone to humiliate her and reject her at the altar, and how calm, and yeah, she left, but she wasn't sweating. No. She did not. There was no emotion. It was monosyllabic. Just, okay, yeah, let's go get coffee. He could have said, let's go dive for sharks. Like, okay, yeah, let's go do that. Let's do the Arctic plunge in 10 months. Okay, yeah, let's do that. She would not. He could have presented anything to her. She would not care.
She didn't get any screen time, so I'm sure she's going to be pissed watching this. But Sal alludes to a bigger issue in their relationship. What was that? Just him?
It's shit like that. And all of the guys, like, if we're going to, okay, I feel like we're probably going into a tangent with the guys and communication. Yeah. There is nothing that the women should have apologized for. And if we dissect all their apologies.
I love this. Yep. I'm like, yep. Mm-hmm.
There is literally nothing. And if they did, a lot of them, and I love Shaina because she didn't give a fuck. She gave a lot of, I'm sorry that you feel that way. She was like, I'm giving a non-apology until I get off this couch. But none of the women should have apologized for anything, because these men or these boys, not counting the Ninja Turtles of, that's Abhishek and Kyle, they are the most petty, bottom-feeding,
growth stunted,
toxic, gross pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life. And so, because what's the point of, okay, if you're not going to bring it up because you respect, because what was his thing? He said, I'm not going to bring it up for privacy. Then why bring it up?
See, like,
why bring it up?
Because that's what you do when you want to be petty, but you
still want to be seen as a good guy.
100%.
Because, sorry, what were you going to
say? Just that is such a fuckboy move to do that. Like, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, bringing it up, but not saying what it is. So she's like spinning. Like, it was just so fucking annoying. And then he's like, I felt unheard by you. And I was like, you sung every episode, and she sat and listened. Fuck you. I was like, you feel unheard? I heard you.
On the Encanto soundtrack. He really wanted to be on. He was like, Lin-Manuel, I have my ukulele. I have my decorative garb around the house. Like, I really want to be on this Encanto soundtrack. So, and it's not Mallory's fault that she didn't get the job, Sal. So stop. It's this passive aggressiveness that I really hate. And it ends up being like scarier than someone just screaming volatilely at you. Well, no, volatile screaming and being belligerent, that's very, very scary. But that kind of seething, tempered rage. And because what ends up happening is they bottle it up, and when it comes out, it can come out physically. It can come out in those moments of near physical, like kind of like threatening that I could do this physical thing to you, but I would still restrain it. It's all in that wheel of abuse to keep that person gaslit, to keep that person confused, and communicating to this person your only role in this relationship is to defer to me. And it's just a dick move. It's a simp move. And it's also like, at the very least, none of these guys know how to communicate. None of them should be in relationships. And so for Mallory was apologizing. She didn't know what she was apologizing for. And when you start doing that, like I'm so glad that they didn't work out. And I kind of feel bad for Mallory's edit, because it wasn't until the reunion that I felt like maybe there was a reason behind her edit, because I really didn't like her. Yeah. Maybe she is insufferable still, but I didn't see what Sal was holding against her. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand what, and then he had a whole fucking swim fan, like trying to track you down at your sister's house because you made her feel like she was in a relationship for 8 months, and you ditch her for
a TV show,
a reality show where you're engaged after a month. Do you know how enraged you would be? You think you're in a relationship, and this guy is clearly looking at you as a situationship, and it's 8 months, and then next thing you know that he's engaged after being with someone for 10 fucking days. Not only would I be at the sister's house, there would have been a little bit of arson. You know what I mean? 100%. There would have been a little bit of like smashed windows. 100%. I would have been arrested.
And I was thinking about this. I was like, why did she go to the sister's house? And I was like, oh, isn't that because they were in a shared apartment put up by Netflix?
Yeah.
So
he wasn't
at his own home. So I was like, fuck. I bet for season 3, they're like, you actually have to stay in your own homes.
Can you imagine?
Because if there's some drop-in guests, we need to be there with our camera.
Okay, we need to make you a producer on season 3 ASAP. I found out, thank you to the follower who DM'd this to me, season 3 is going to be in Seattle.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to Seattle next weekend. I love Seattle.
Ooh, I love that for you. I lived there like 8 years ago. Really? And I love
Seattle.
It. So it's going to be constant seething, tempered passive aggressiveness, and they're all going to lose it in the reunion.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Because Seattleites, I cannot deal with the passive aggressiveness of Seattleites. Like, what is up with that? What is up with that?
I'm so excited. I love how they're just bouncing around to like city to city. Like, where to next?
They need to keep that formula. And they need to keep that formula. And it just shows you, like, you learn about the dating pool that's there. Yes. It's like, it's just good research for us. Yes. And the dates are going to go on. It's just, I just love Seattle. It's just so beautiful. How long are you is your trip for?
I'm just there for a weekend because my aunt lives there. So I've been going to Seattle since I was a kid every summer.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I haven't been since 2019. Yeah, so I'm so excited. And it'll be fun to see like them, you're right, dating, like going to like Pike Place or something like that. Like they'll be like the Ferris wheel.
I want to see them hike Rattlesnake Ledge and then like, I don't do and push one off. Like I want to see.
Oh my God. I'm just so excited for that. Which is weird because again, like I fucking hate this TV show. Like I hate it so much.
It's, it's like we're stuck in our own kind of loop because it's honestly, it's too much to fit in an episode. Like, by episode 4, I was like, I need a break. Like, I can't watch. I just can't. You can't binge that show. You really have to do like 1 or 2 episodes at a time. It's too much.
It is. And guess what I found out when I was doing my post reunion research? They taped 40,000 hours and they narrowed it down to 10 plus the reunion, so 11 hours. 40,000 hours.
Corey, stop this right now.
I need to see this. The other 39,000.
I don't care about Seattle. Give me a season of lost footage.
Yes.
I don't care.
Okay, honestly, Netflix, hire us, because they should be doing they should be doing so many behind the scenes. Like, they should have a YouTube channel, and they're like, drop every once in a while, like, here is Shayne and Natalie on a date or like whatever, and they should just like post that, like, or like the lost tapes of those 2 couples that got engaged. Or apparently, again, Natalie was proposed to before Shayne. It's like, fucking show us that. That's such good TV. So I'm like, how did you narrow it down? Again, God bless the production team.
They know what they're doing. But it's interesting because I did see that that news break of like, yeah, she was full on proposed by someone else. And she said that she didn't like his energy. She thought it was way too quick, way too fast. And she like said no as if like she got the ick, like as if she'd seen him in person. So I'm like, this actually gives more context into who Natalie is than what was curated for her in the show. And I honestly don't feel like she would have as big of like a following if we saw that. Does that make sense? I feel like they 100%. Like I wouldn't be like, yes, girl, you deserve better and da 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 da. It's like, oh no, so you actively go after guys like Shayne.
Yes,
that's a problem.
Yes, and they made her seem like she was head over heels with Shayne. Shayne's her number one. She's only focused on Shayne. So then when everything happened, which again, Shayne is to blame for everything, but Shayne is exactly. Yes, but like also it's like we were like, oh my God, she's in love and he's a douche, which isn't actually the whole story.
Nope.
So that is so interesting to me. Also, I want to say thanks, Alina, for sliding into my DMs. She was like, my theory about Natalie and Shayne is because apparently Natalie was a big sorority girl. And she was saying like Shayne is like the quintessential frat boy. And she was like, that's why she's obsessed with him, because that's like the life, or that's what you're like primed to like think is attractive and like good and valued in a partner. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Because I'm still, again, another unanswerable question is just, how do you even have one conversation with this person, let alone like 50,000?
1,000%. And before I go into my point, it's like, I think Alina gets the Nancy Grace Journalism Award. Thank you for that. I'm like the mind blown emoji. That was like, because I didn't know that piece of her, but it also makes sense. Like, we were talking about last week of like, who's her sphere of influence, being in a lot of white spaces, and like literally knowing that she's covered under the umbrella of sorority culture makes me want to vomit, of course, but it explains everything down to everything down to a T.
Totally. And then if she's striving to feel as attractive or whatever as white blonde sorority girls,
you're right.
Then maybe when she's like, oh my gosh, this frat boy is paying me attention, maybe she's like, oh, this is like it. This is like what I thought I wanted.
And also like that revenge. I'm not calling her a nerd, but it's that like revenge of the nerd trope of like, you were able to best the person that is kind of like this archetype of who would be seen as a threat, or like as if, oh my God, like this scarcity mentality of like the women in a dating pool. and trash like Abhishek and Kyle get to thrive. But anyways, I digress. To be able to keep Shayne's attention and make it far and get engaged to him over her nemesis Shaina. Like the whole sisterhood shit that they were doing in the reunion, I was like, stop it. Y'all hate each other. You would claw her eyes out and literally keep her blind. Like y'all hate each other.
It literally is a puzzle.
And so I was making fun of Vanessa clearly Lachey of being on her Oprah tip of like asking Shaina, so how did you feel with Natalie bragging about Shayne? She really wanted them to fight. Yep. She was mad that they were just like, oh, the sisterhood play is what's going well over on Instagram, so let's stick with that. But like literally Shaina is the archetype, like that's her enemy. And so yeah, she's gonna be bragging about Shayne, and because
yes, she's gonna say yes to Shayne.
Yeah, like no questions asked. Like, and again, like she said yes to Shayne off of nothing. And again, now that I have this sorority kind of like fraternity, piece, it's like the whole system in that is like, that is the core of mediocrity of men. Like these women will be fawning over these dudes and they didn't do a damn thing to you, for you. They don't care about you. You're a list on there. You know what I mean? Like these are predators. And so like for her to still look at that and think that that is a viable choice. And so it makes me, I want the lost tapes of like, why did she have the ick towards this guy? Right? Like I really want to see who this guy was. Cause I'm like, he probably anything that's different than Shayne probably would have been a good choice, but she's not. You tend to groove to your patterns, and so I would love to see that angle because I think if we did, we wouldn't be so gung ho about Natalie. I think she'd kind of be just as messy as like a Danielle.
100%, yeah, or Mal.
Yeah, I think, Mal, I feel like this is my apology to her. Mal just gave me that vibe of like someone who's been guarded for so long.
Yeah.
And they now can't discern what is them taking a risk or what is them going to the emotionally unavailable guy because that's still a safe choice.
Yeah, 100%.
They all need therapy.
So much therapy.
He was so adamant that she chose Sal because he was different from, I guess Jarrette would be her type, but it's just kind of like, but Sal was still equally emotionally unavailable. And it's still a safe choice. Like when you hitch your tent or, hitch your wagon to the unsafe guy, it's kind of like you're still protected from being hurt. But then you still get hurt and humiliated anyways. That's the lie of that, kind of thinking of being guarded. But yeah, I feel for her. I feel for her a lot now.
Yeah, I do too. I'm still like, I feel like anyone on this show, I'm like, I don't think I'll say I like anybody at this point. Maybe Deepti.
Oh, no, I despise all of them. Can we talk about Deepti? Because I know you did more research than I, and I would see these like, and I know I sent you an article too, but the thing about Deepti is her energy in the reunion. So why was she at Nobu with Shake? Do you remember when he posted that? He posted a picture, it was like a selfie of him and Deepti together.
No.
As reservation at Nobu. Yeah, that table. Like he had like a stupid caption, but he posted a picture of him, a selfie of him and Deepti to say that they're good. So after the episode, after everything the finale had aired and people were reacting to it and obviously hating him, he posted a picture of him and Deepti saying, as if to allude, like, we're actually fine. So when I saw the reunion, and then I heard about Nick Viall. She was on Nick Viall's podcast. And also, this is a message to anyone listening. Why do you guys still give Nick the numbers? Like, I'm so confused.
Like, that's actually a big
what idea saying that you hate him and you are constantly infuriated, but not only do you listen, not only do you have him downloaded it on your podcast page, but you listen past minute 1, 10, 20, you listen to the whole episode. You're still monetizing his platform.
Yeah. And
people are canceling my Patreon. I digress. I digress. But the tea is like, stop sending me stuff about Nick. Like after listening to his episodes and then you come to give me the tea. You guys know, if you've been with me for a long time, you know, I really hate that man. I don't follow anything he does. I don't because every time when you give me the tea, I'm always like, wait, why is this person listening to to Nick? Like, he's still, you know what I mean? But I digress. But so Deepti went on there and, you know, Abhishek got really upset. And then now looking at the reunion, I'm still confused if he posted that picture that they were fine. So do you like know anything about that or like?
No, like I didn't see that because Shake has been on Instagram stories live in the comments. He has been doing his villain tour. He should have been on Nick Van's podcast. Like they're one and the same.
They are, but Nick is like Shayne, where when someone gets too much backlash, then all of a sudden he has a moral compass and he has a spine. Yeah, he'll physically distance himself. And it's just kind of like, no, you guys are the same.
That also fucking pissed me off that all the cast just like got on hating Shake and like it amends for all of their bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Nick and Danielle was like, come on, Shake, like just stop. I was like, fuck you. Like, I think I hate when men can only spot like egregious bad behavior, but not all of the other like insidious behaviors that are permissible that they do themselves and see and don't call anyone out for it. Yeah. But they can call out Shake for his comments about weight and stuff. And that fucking pisses me off because it's like, oh, you're not a good person because you can stand up to egregious behavior. It's all of the other stuff that you need to hold people accountable for. And I just, that ruined my life.
Yeah, it's the Me Too threat. It's the whole lie of it's the big lie. It's like, it's not that they care.
There she is. Like clockwork.
Did you see the disdain on my face? Like I felt like Nick Lachey looking at Abhishek, making a pass at Vanessa Lachey. It's not that they care of what's happening to the women. It's that they care that any day they could be found out that their behavior might be labeled as something that's wrong. And so it's this, you see, so that negotiation spills over into, if Shayne moved any more into the couch, he would become the couch. And it's just kind of like, okay, this physical embodiment, this physical comedy that you're doing, it's cute. But then you're going to gaslight the fuck out of Natalie and demand that she apologize in this like fucking schoolyard tit for tat bullshit. And that has not shown that you have grown in any way, shape or form. And all the men on that couch, honestly. And Nick, he barely spoke. All he gave was an, are you okay? Like when he asked to Shake that, I was crying. But like Nick didn't really talk. And to be fair, I think because Nick is kind of way past that. Nick gives me the type of vibes that he was probably doing one-on-one therapy well before he did couples therapy with Danielle. But it's that like threat of the Me Too threat of we're not enraged because this culture breeds this predatory behavior of men towards women and these power imbalances and all this bullshit. And we see it happen all the time and we downplay it by locker room talk. It's just that we're actually afraid of where's the line in our behavior and when will we be found out? Mm-hmm. It's trash. It's low bar. It's fucking disgusting. Mm-hmm. And I have no respect for any of them. And so anyone who's going to like, I don't know who's giving them a redemption arc. Apparently a lot of people were on Kyle's side. And I'm just kind of like, they're all bottom feeding trash.
People were on Kyle's side. I also love Kelly. She was like, I love Sal. She was like, I don't see any hate about Sal on the internet. And I was like, we're on different internets. Like, I love you, but we're on the two different sides.
I love you, but it's a problem.
Yeah.
This is a cry for help.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I saw this especially with Shaina and Kyle. of like, Kyle was like, I need an apology for this. And he didn't think Shaina was going to give it to him. And when she was like, yeah, sorry. And he was like, oh shit. Like, I can't like poke anymore. Like, I can't. And he was like, well, what about this? And like I love how Shaina was just like, yeah, it's sorry, and just like moved on. The men couldn't leave the reunion before trying to one up.
Yes.
And I guess like rehab their like full images and be the good person in this reunion.
Yeah, they did not have a sincere bone in their body. And that is such a like top-notch point. And again, even though like Shaina didn't have to apologize for anything, like I loved her strategy. It was like, okay, it's like when you're telling someone sorry to shut them up, and it's still not good, but it's kind of like, how else are you going to get this content to be over? And he really tried. I feel like he thought he was on after the final rose, and he got sent home in the finale, The Bachelor. Like he was giving that energy of beating a dead horse and trying to get something out of Shaina. And it's like he would like restructure or like refucking revisionist history all over his stuff. And I'm like, and I love when Shaina was like in one of those, like, not even, it wasn't Shaina, it was Nick Lachey doing his job. Like, how did you not see that her hesitancy meant not to move forward with this? Like, he was basically in a nice way trying to see, like, are you dumb or are you dumb? Like, she was telling you no, and she had the ick for you. Like, homegirl was recoiled by the side of you. Like, she would recoil from you sometimes. So like, I love how Nick was like trying to get that out of him. Like, how did you not see that? But then when he, like you said, when he would see it wouldn't work, and she'd be like, oh yeah, sorry babe, you're right, you're right, I should have, you're right. And then he's just kind of like,
yeah, he was like, oh,
hey,
but
what
like,
do I do?
you're supposed to cry, you're supposed to cry, apologize,
you're supposed to beg. But what does he pivot to? His last resort? My deepest regret is that I didn't propose to Deepti. And that's all you need to know about Kyle, one. And two, that's when I saw red. I felt like Fiery Elmo. Like, I fucking lost it last night when he uttered those words. Like, I lost it.
Why did no one react on the show?
Because they're all idiots, and they thought that was
They thought that was
cute.
Okay. They thought that was normal. I'm like, do you know the implications of what he's saying? Again, he doesn't care who he's proposing to. He wants to stay on this show longer. And Kyle, no one wants a fucking like pity engagement. I actually feel so bad for Deepti at the coverage that she's been getting. I'm like, I feel like people think it's like they're being like, yes, queen, but like really it's like, I feel like it's almost like really degrading because they're like, you're so beautiful on the inside. And it's like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it's like, Kyle.
No, you're saying it perfectly.
Like,
it makes sense.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, all the coverage of Deepti's story, I feel like has been like, it's just like, oh, why can't guys see that Deepti is a viable candidate because and I'm like, she's also like a gorgeous person. Like, are we looking it was like, it's like the 90s like nerd trope takes off the glasses and it's like, oh my god, I didn't see this person. It
takes off the glasses and her scrunchie and her hair is down. It's like, oh wow, you are beautiful. No, you're making so much sense that I have chills because
I feel extremely inarticulate. But okay,
no.
I'm glad
it makes 1,000%. Like, Kyle will propose to anything with a pulse. Yeah. That's his bar. You know what I mean? Like, do you have a pulse? Okay. They could be in a vegetative state. This guy, that's his bar. He needs to have a pulse. And then he ups the insult because then it doesn't stay about Deepti, right? It turns into them beating their chest and talking to one another, but we'll get to that. So everyone was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you should have, this missed opportunity thing. But then Deepti looked like she could not have like caved into her body anymore. Like, she wanted, it panned to her and she looked mortified.
I know.
And I was broken because it is so patronizing what he did.
Outside
of it showing that he would do anything with a pulse, what he was really telling her is that, how do I say it? It was the most offensive way of telling someone that I will settle for you. And because he's so dumb and daft, like he does not get that. And then when it spills over into the coverage of how everyone is thinking like, oh, let's like flood Deepti with love. First of all, I don't fucking know her. She actually is an autonomous human being. She knows she looks good. She left Abhishek, remember guys? Like, stop with this patronizing infantilization. Like, she knows she's hot shit. It hurts. It sucks because we live in this fucking world with these unrealistic standards, and patriarchy is, you know, just so fucking, it's undignifying. And I'm sure she takes it up with her therapist. But like these people thinking that they're like, oh, Team Deepti, and they're like encouraging her, it's coming off really tone deaf and patronizing. And it's like, this person knows what they're capable of, or else they wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like the energy that they're presenting her with is it's as if she chose Abhishek. She did not. She's living her best fucking life and she knows she's good. And the emotionally intelligent and the guy that checks off all her boxes, or whoever she's into, like, he will come. It's not that her life is not over. We need to like rally around her because we don't know ever. Because when we come with that energy, then we're actually then leading with that energy that we think she's unattractive 100%. To. And people don't realize that.
100%.
They don't realize that.
I know.
And it's like, you all can go fuck yourself, especially Kyle. Like, I wanted to roundhouse kick him. And when Abhishek said, you can have it.
I'll facilitate it.
You can have it. I'll facilitate it. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. You can have it. Happy to facilitate. What?
I'm speechless. If I could have not hated this person,
we're too stunned to speak. Sophie and Torry are too stunned to speak.
It was insufferable. It was absolutely fucking insufferable. But Kate, my question is like, are they together? Because all of this Kyle Deepti stuff online.
So I did not, like, anytime I would see one of those articles, like the algorithm was like, oh, you're watching it, it's fine. What do you think about this? I would not click on it because I was like, I rebuke this. My atheist ass rebukes this, casting it out like the demons in Emily Rose. You know what I think it is though? People saw the reunion early, or the minute it dropped, and ran with these think pieces. Because when I watched the reunion, it did not look like Deepti was spearheading this campaign. There was no photos of them together. It just felt like it was like these, they were pandering headlines. And, you know, a couple of people saw the reunion and it's like, okay, this is what we're going to lead with. And it's like, when I finally saw it, I'm like, no, Deepti looked horrified, mortified, and wanted to dissipate into thin air. So like, she doesn't want that. And who the fuck would wish that fucking gremlin on her? Not a gremlin, Furby. This perpetually wet Furby. Who would want to wish that on Deepti?
100%. And
people are patronizing and they don't even realize it.
I know, like he thought he was giving her like a compliment. And it really kills me. Like, it fucking kills me. Again, like, these wolves in sheep's clothing are almost worse than Shayne.
Yes, that's the thing, because Shayne's and Abhishek's, like, you can read them a mile away.
You know their behavior.
Mile away. With guys like that, you just need that one soundbite from Iyanna. You know, it would help you to see a psychologist to deal with being a narcissist. That's all the energy you need to give to fucking spineless idiots like that. Because you give more and you're talking to a wall and you're wasting your emotional labor. Like, all they need, I'm just going to save that soundbite of Iyanna and just play it anytime I'm in the vicinity of a narcissist. Like, that's all you need to tell them. But people like Salvador and Kyle, it's like fucking triggering and I've gone through enough therapy, so I'm not projecting this onto them. But why it's so dangerous is because a lot of the times when we realize that this is not a good situation, it's already too late. And it's already too late in a number of ways. Not already too late. The extreme version of that is physical abuse, right? And other types of like really volatile abuse where you don't feel like you can leave the situation. But emotionally being tethered to them,
financially, like
right?
whatever. Yeah.
Financially, fucking, you know, sometimes you'll have these types of marriages where, you know, people are just so fucking, and because of women, we shoulder a lot of these burdens, and we're the ones that are told to be blindly loyal and unconditional, and these maternal tropes that they put on us. And sometimes we will stay in a situation well past it being good for us because of how we're fucking conditioned. But guys can leave with no dignity, with no respect, with no integrity, because the patriarchy doesn't breed emotional maturity, doesn't thrive on being respectful and dignifying human beings, right? So like you can see, you know, because when Mal said that she didn't know if she would have said, like if he would have said yes, she would have said yes. It would have been like that same cyclical thing of like, yeah, you're just going to be with him just to be loyal. And then when you have red flags, you gaslight yourself with thinking, well, no, it's not bad because it's at least not Shayne, right? We even use them as barometers, like, well, it's not Shayne, so I'll just settle for this. And then it's like, then you get into a point in a relationship where you like, well, you know, I've been with him for however long. If it ain't broke, then try to fix it. Like, I can stay. And it's just like, and then when you realize, oh my gosh, this guy was withholding, he was emotionally manipulative, he was financially, and look at this scrub. She has her own home and she, you know what I mean? Like he was trying to find an in. Like I was seeing this shit from day one. And then all of a sudden he's like financially, what's the word? Not manipulative, but yeah, not that they would be financially dependent, but he's the kind of guy that would say, we're married, we are one, our assets are one. So when you relinquish that to him, then all of a sudden he's making decisions about your assets. You're like, wait, what? But then no, that's my boo, it's my husband. It's and it's all done to erase you of your autonomy and your sense of self, to be solely dependent on him and to have that power where he can discard you whenever. So again, he's dressing it up so differently. And if you try to tell your friends, they'll be like, oh my gosh, girl, you're crazy. Like, I love Sal. I wish I had a Sal. And it's just kind of like you're in a whole ass abusive relationship brought to you by the patriarchy. And it's just like, you've seen these Lifetime movies, you've seen these relationships in your real life. And it's like, luckily for Mal, it didn't happen that way. But guys like Kyle and Sal, like the things that they showed in the reunion, it literally unlocked, like you could see, like you said last week, like I've watched this movie and it doesn't end well. You could see that. So I don't know if that all made sense.
It makes sense 100%.
Stuck in a loop again.
Because with Shake's outbursts throughout the whole, like a petulant child, the whole reunion, you're like, I can tell that's a defense mechanism. Like you're acting out because you can't process the emotions you're feeling.
And he can't control what the public sees.
Exactly.
Even though it's like the public sees what you're putting out. Shake, that's how blissfully unaware he is. He has no self-awareness.
He's like, I guess I'm the villain. I guess I got the villain edit. The villain edit?
Oh my God. We both, our synced, exasperated sighs kill me.
Because he's the realest one there.
The realest one. And the only thing he ever said, and the thing is, like, you have a brain, Shake. You can understand logic. Like, no one's saying because you're a villain, you can't be insightful and you can't, like, shut the fuck up. But, like, him calling out everyone for being clout chasers. Facts are facts. But everything else, like, you don't, like Deepti said it, like, you don't even see, like, how you come across and the way that you go about things. Like, that's the problem. But you're too unaware to even connect to that. So there's no help for you. There's no hope for you.
I know. I feel like the worst type of guy is like the truth teller. Well, I'm just telling the truth. You're all fake.
And you're like, oh, everybody hates me because I'm the one who tells the truth. I'm, like the one who leans into like being actively contrarian. And you're like, oh, you're a fucking idiot that didn't get, that you just want to hug. Like you're like debilitatingly insecure. Yeah. And the moment I forget, like insane. There was a moment where I think it was I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Nick or Vanessa who was trying to reason with him, but obviously they saw they were not going to get anywhere. And the camera panned to him, and I wish I would have screenshotted that because I feel like that's who Shake is all the time. Flushed, nervous, and trying to make it to the next conversation. Like he has no idea what he's doing. And that's what he's scared of, people finding out that he is a fraud. And that's a lot of people. But then when you can rely on the patriarchy and other things to like perform that you have it all together, it's so disastrous. But that shot of like when he was bested and he was trying to fumble and trying to think of a next thought, but he couldn't, he looked like, I was like, oh, I know that feeling. I've been so embarrassed, and like you just feel like this flushed feeling, and you're just afraid that it's written all over your face. But then he pivoted so quickly that I probably wouldn't be able to capture it anyways. But like, I think it might have been in the time where Vanessa was like, oh yeah, but I've been berating you this whole conversation and you're attracted to that. So what did I say about you? And he still couldn't connect that. And I think in that melee of everyone, Shayne is visibly, he wants to throw up, and everyone's giving their 2 cents about Shake, and that the camera panned to him like split second, and I saw that, and I'm like, that's who he is. He's a scared preteen, and whatever defining moment happened to him as a kid that fucking, turned him into who he is now, like that's where he's operating from. And it's sad, but then it's like there's a line, because you have to now apologize for what the destruction you've left in your wake. Yep. You're an asshole.
Yes, 100%. And that's what we kind of talked about in our last episode is the impact and like the implications of your behavior. Because I could see that like crack in the veneer. The cyborg had a little malfunction, and then he moved on. Yes. And I'm sure that happens a lot. And I'm like, what a yucky feeling to get every time, like to be in this fight or flight stage your whole life, your cortisol levels.
Come on, put on your psychologist specs. This is when you take out the notepad and you here they are. Right there. We got fight or flight. We got cortisol levels. We got the vagus nerves activated. Like we are hitting everything. Oh my God. Gottman Institute, hire us. We need to be a relationships podcast. Like,
seriously.
But it's like all facts. It's like nothing to add, like that 1,000%.
We should talk about Iyanna and Jarrette.
Yeah, and I know I want to be mindful of your time because you're like booked and busy today. So let's talk about Iyanna and Jarrette and how I'm like so scared for them, and then we can do our rankings.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, perfect. What were your thoughts on Iyanna and Jarrette? They didn't get a lot of speaking time, but when they did,
I just like, I'm sad for people. You're like,
yeah, I know where this is going.
I hope you do. I
didn't realize it was so loud.
I'm like, you don't know what I'm gonna say. I could say something batshit crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, but it can only go one way. Yeah, no. For Iyanna and Jarrette, it can only go one way.
I'm sad for people, like the exasperated looks on their face and the pain almost when they're like, how's it going? And they're like, marriage is hard. Whoever is telling you it's easy is lying. And I'm like, I get that relationships are hard because you bring all of the, like, all the shit that we've been talking about, you bring into a relationship. But like, and maybe I'm also perpetuating the idea that it's like easy or whatever. And not that it's always easy or anything like that of that sort, but I'm like, you've been together for a year and you look like you've been through a war. Like, you look like, I'm like, should it take that much out of you? Like, it looked like they were shells of human beings. And I am sad about that. Like, I'm just sad. And like, they're like, it's so much compromise. And I'm like, should it be that? I'm like, people think compromise is always really good. I'm like, sometimes it's not good because you're both giving up something when you compromise. So I feel like, again, in psychology, like,
you're talking to someone who knows. Don't you remember?
Yes.
The both of us together equate to one fully functioning psychologist.
Clearly. But it's like there's like times where it's compromise, there's times where it's give to the other person, there's sometimes it's take or whatever. And I just feel like they're constantly butting heads. Like, she's such an introvert, he's such an extrovert or whatever, that I'm like, I don't think it should be that much compromise. And maybe I'm out to lunch on this one, but it's like they looked defeated. And I'm like, I don't feel like you should look defeated not even 1 year into a relationship. Like, not even talking about marriage, but like a relationship. And that just made me sad. Yeah.
I'm like, I started off nodding furiously because it's like everything you're saying, I agree with 1000%. And, you know, I wouldn't even like make memes about them because I was like, I don't, now I feel like I'm like, you know, adding salt to the wound because
it's open.
You're right. It's a glaring, it's this like huge gash, and it's like gash. What am I saying? Gash. And it's now pussing over, unfortunately. Like, we're now looking at an infected wound. And so I feel like I didn't want to go too hard on them, but the post I made was like, and echoing, you know, your thoughts of like, they're either going to get divorced and blow out very quick. Like, they looked, I don't even know how they made it to the couch. Like, Iyanna looked physically pained. And I'm like,
they were clutching.
Is this okay?
To each other. Like,
if I see the white in your knuckles, I think you need to let go. I think you need to let go. And like, you better say the right thing. You better say the right thing. You better not embarrass me on television.
Jarrette had both hands. Like, he had one arm around her and then like one like on her hand. And I was like, you don't need both hands. Like, you have a full love
And when
seat.
they couldn't get through what it was like watching it back, that's when I was like, oh God, get me out of here. And so I said, they're either going to get divorced, like divorced before Nick and Danielle, or they're going to stay together, kind of like echoing like what we were talking about earlier of like compromises we make, gendered compromises we make to stay in these fucking relationships and just be miserable. And your kids are going to see that. And now that intergenerational trauma and, you know, certain patterns, certain conditionings you put into your children, and they're going to repeat the same shit. And you're going to be confused as to why. But one thing that I caught, and maybe it's because I have the shorthand or like, I kind of know what she meant by this. After she got through, and it was a journey for her to get through as to why she loves this man or why the relationship works. And it was just kind of like, wait, am I the one seeing this? Like, kind of like you said, it should not be that hard. And then her reconciliatory comment was, yeah, but you know, I love this man and it's because we have the same values. I said, God damn. Like, I lost my mind, because what that means is the shorthand of them being a Black couple and the Black love narratives. There's just, honestly, it could literally be a 3-part fucking unpaid emotional labor series, because it's also birthed in like tropes from slavery too, of like this and knowing that they're all, and then they have the Christian trope too, so they're a Black Christian family, and there's so many fucking narratives around that. And I apologize, followers, like I went on too many tangents already that I can't really go off on a tangent. Where, you know, be mindful of time for this episode, but like, she is saying, I'm staying with this man to not be a Black couple that doesn't stay together, to not, you know, because of archaic tropes about divorce in the church. And it's like, just like love isn't always enough, values isn't always enough. And values in a sense of when we are not, because you like you said, they're two shells of themselves, and I don't think that they are talking to each other. I think they're talking at each other or through each other under this umbrella of these personas they want people to connect with. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like, and I called it when, I forget what episode, when they met the families, I thought that Iyanna was going to be a no with Jarrette at the altar until she met the fucking family, until she met his family. And I was like, oh God. And I think I made a joke about like, oh, she's going to like want to be in the family because she was orphaned. But, and I think people assumed that. I was like, no, I wasn't saying it for that. I was saying it for like the institution of marriage in Christianity. And when we enter what Black intimacy and love looks like within these institutions, there is literally so many fucking TED Talks. There's literally not even TED Talks, but like there's so many like books and analyses of that. And sometimes what you end up finding is people, it's not that they're making sound decisions from knowing who they are. They're being dictated by the tropes and the narrative of those larger themes. And that is their relationship. They're going to, if they stay together, they're going to be miserable because you see two people who do not know themselves and who do not know each other. I'm not surprised they're going through the issue that they're going through. That's what happens. It's consequential to not knowing, to not being compatible. But then what are they going to say? No, we got to pray about it. This or no, it's compromise. And then you're going to wake up 20 years later when the kids are in college and you're empty nesters and you look over and you're like, oh, you're still here?
Because when there's compromise, no.
That journey,
no. It makes total sense. Because when there's compromise, there's a lot of possibility for resentment. And man, when you start placing stuff on values,
I literally, I like how I almost wanted to cry last night when I saw how unhappy she looked. And how you had this man who, I've been calling him no scrub, and I've been, playing a lot of TLC, I'm right. But I also feel like this man, I'm right. But this man, he's not ready.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And that's the question I'm confused. And maybe this is, we obviously won't be able to answer it within the time frame of this podcast, but like, what the fuck is up with dating and intimacy, and especially heteronormative dating and intimacy? Because what is this idea that we can't say no, or we can't, like, this is where I leave you? What's up with that? Like, what is wrong with, oh, I'm not ready to be in this, I'm not ready to get married, I'm not ready to do this? Why is that shunned? You see what I'm saying? Because none of those people should have been dating, let alone gotten married. And what's the problem with knowing your limits and be like, know what?
It's so many things, but I think it's this unbearable and ever-present message that if you aren't in a couple, you are like, you're a leper or whatever. Like you're like a...
No, 1,000%. Like you're a leper. You're nothing. Like
you have nothing to contribute.
Yes,
you have nothing contribute to society. And when we saw Danielle and Nick's home video, but then didn't see one from Iyanna and Jarrette, I was like, is that because they like couldn't get one to like look happy, like, or I was like, or are they like actually like not living together, or like maybe even broken up? But like,
Iyanna posted on her, and I don't even know how I found this, but Iyanna posted on her Instagram the day, I guess, of the reunion dropped, like, oh, now finally contractually I can share this. And she was showing highlights of their relationship in the past year. And I'm like, this looks like half of these reels look like you were on a class field trip with your best friends. And other half looks like your middle school boyfriend. Like it felt so like, it felt so devoid of like a relationship. It looked, it I don't know, it looked like she was hanging out with her best buddies, Jarrette included. And it felt very juvenile in that sense. And, you know, my last point, Iyanna, there's a lot to be said. And I think I talked about this last week of you can't pray away your trauma. I still see someone who is still very stunted by her trauma and still acting out of the place in her youth where that trauma stopped her cognitive development. And there's like a lot of science around that too. And so so there's a lot of tangents that we can go off on there. And I know I don't know her personally, and I'm not, and that sounds very hypocritical of me, feeling like I'm taking her autonomy of like she's making the best decisions for herself right now. But I'm just talking about but you're still in a bubble, like that survival mode bubble. It's still that you're still in a bubble. I've been in that bubble where there's reality and there's my survival mode, right? So, and perception is reality, but then, you know, I hope this all makes sense, but like, I'm not trying to take anything away from her. I'm sure she is happy. I'm sure she is grateful for her decision to stay married to Jarrette, but the bubble outside of their negotiations and being a shell of themselves, like it's dark. And it's very cringy at the very least. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, we got to end on a happy note with jokes. Holy shit. Like,
It's heavy. It is heavy. But that's what TV shows are, that depict like real relationships.
Right. And I can't wait for the ultimatum, because
are you going to watch that? I was like, isn't this Marriage Boot Camp?
It's Marriage Boot Camp, Temptation Island, but also undergirded by Nick and obviously Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey's marital problems, and I'm here for it.
Me too.
When the way they set up the ultimatum, like, oh, a lot of you didn't know this. Yeah, we weren't in your therapist's office with you, Nick. Of course,
Vanessa gave me an ultimatum.
Vanessa actually gave me an ultimatum. Yeah, because you wrote a song about how you liked her when you were still married, and now you have her stuck in a 5-year relationship, and she ain't got a ring. And then, and what I do know, Nick, is that y'all did break up, and then when you got back together, miraculously you were engaged. So I can't wait for all that pent up resentment to seep through the show.
I know. I'm so excited. Ooh. And we'll talk about it, hopefully.
I was wanting to propose to you, like, breaking news. Like, do you just want to like keep this train going of us dissecting Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey hosting?
I was gonna say, now can we talk? It's coming out in a month. So like, can we like still talk?
Like, I feel like this is, you heard it here first. This is my first partnership. Legit partnership. Well, I actually have resident co-hosts for Bachelor stuff. That's my friends Ashley and Esther. And I feel like you're now
on Netflix.
It's not like a co-host. Like, I feel like it's like, no, like I feed off of your analyses and like jokes, and I feel like, yeah, it's like RTBB and UEL, all the acronyms. Like, we will cover obviously Nick and Vanessa Lachey shows.
Oh my god,
I love that. I'm down if you're down.
I'm so down.
I mean, I know you have like other partnerships with other people that are way cooler than me, but like I love this pocket of content.
Yeah, because otherwise I wouldn't be watching.
No, you need to yell at your followers. They bullied you into
They literally did. And I told them I resent them for it. They're probably like, okay, goodbye.
Like, I still hate you, but I'm still gonna put up some content. Okay, so let's finish with power rankings. Should we go to bottom to top or top to bottom? Like, who we think are the clear winners,
we could do like winner loser, like who's a winner, who's a loser,
but also like depreciated stock. I love this idea of like sell.
Yeah, who are you selling? Who are you buying? Whose stock prices are up? Whose stock prices are down? And I ripped this idea off of a lovely podcaster by the name of Taryn Armstrong, if you're listening to this. Not him.
Oh, I love the energy, because my followers know that my old away tagline was like, don't be a dick, cite your sources. And I love that you just cited your source in real time. Oh, this is a partnership now, Torry. But okay, so I am literally putting all of my savings. I don't have any. I'm putting all of my money into Deepti. I think that the way that she's coming on top, and she's the kind of person where it's like, I love her demeanor where she doesn't feel like the need to share everything. Or also, like, even with Abhishek, she didn't speak for 36 minutes, which I was like, okay, this is disrespectful. The restraint. And then when she speaks, it's just like, he is done. Like, the man is like back to holding back his tears. And also, she's someone who we need to remember she left Abhishek, right? We don't need to give her these patronizing compliments. She is, not only is she gonna be okay, she's more than okay.
She's thriving right now.
Thriving. Like, I'm throwing all of my money behind Deepti, buying that stock real quick.
Yeah. This is like, because I feel like we literally shot on them for a full hour. I'm kind of up on Danielle and Nick.
You know, we shot on them last week, but when I was watching the reunion, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be the couple that lasts from this cohort.
Yeah. And like, again, I don't know if that's a good thing, but like when we saw their house tour and we saw like all their like little memorabilia, I was like, oh, okay, like, A, you're so fucking tacky. B, like, but B, I was like, this is cute. Like, this is cute. And they're in therapy. They said they were in therapy. So great. That's what we wanted.
And that's what happens. And it's like, I love, and I knew this about Nick. I called this about Nick like episode 1. Like, he knows he's a nerd and he doesn't care. Like, he's someone who's very secure in who he is. He gives me secure attachment vibes, and with a little bit of insecure attachment because still things needs to work through. But I feel like therapy will only strengthen their bond. And they're two quirky people that they both understand. Like, you know, when you would go to a party of theirs, like, you know what to expect. And I think that's the kind, even though he had to, he conceded to her being a little young still and a little immature and, you know, doing Coyote Ugly salon every fucking month. But that's when the compromise doesn't eclipse other parts of the relationship. They're still able to love each other and get to know each other.
Yes.
That's when it actually works. And they're perfect. And they say it's not, because you're not supposed to be. But that's when it's like, oh, but I feel like I'm not stuck in a loop. But you see what I'm saying? I agree with you.
I'm like weirdly buying their stock, even though like
not weirdly, proud. Like, that's a good investment. You are going to cash out like some, like Tim Cook.
I hope so. Who else are you buying or selling?
You know, this might be a shock. I am buying Mallory stock. You know, now that I think it's one of those things where in hindsight, you can now look at the totality of the relationship. And again, I have to tell y'all, I got tea that the issue with Sal's ex was much bigger than they showed. It was like 2 days of Mallory refusing to film with him. It was a big fucking deal. And now they told me 40,000 hours of fucking footage. Like, it was dark, guys. So, and I think I'm starting to relate to Mallory in a sense of like, when I was really, really guarded and like my trauma was my fucking second skin. I actively made decisions of like the unreliable guy. Because to me, it spoke to me that he's safe because I know I know he'll break my heart. And that was more stable than taking a risk and actually knowing who I am and letting myself fall in love and buying into the logic that you get hurt sometimes. My trauma, I wasn't able to process that healthiness outside of these toxic cycles that I was in. And so I see that I saw that a lot in Mallory in the reunion. And so I'm putting money in her stock and also in her FSA so she can go to therapy. Like, I want to support everything about that.
Nice.
What about you. So I feel like that's a surprising one for me. I didn't think
It is.
probably how you felt about Danielle and Nick.
Yeah, the last kind of people that I would buy, weirdly, Shaina.
I knew you were gonna say it because she was my next one.
Because I liked what she was giving at the reunion. Like, she was like, yeah, I shouldn't have said yes. It was a people pleasing moment, and I was like, because
context, I wanted to see on TV.
Yes. Okay, but also I was like, honestly, if I was ever on one of these shows, I would be the engaged person. Like, I'm gonna admit that right now. I'm not even joking. I think I would be the engaged person. And because I think the people pleasing. Like, I actually think, like, there's, and just the pressure of it. And I think she just got caught up in it. And I was like, oh, I kind of relate to that. So, and then I just love that she just gave nothing. Like, the guys wanted tears and they wanted the quivery breath like Natalie gave.
Yeah.
And she just was like,
paid them in dust. This is the first time, and obviously there's a lot to be said. You know, Abhishek, it's always the ones who call out editing for their own behavior that no one edited you, bro. Like, that was all you. And those and the people who actually got edited. I think Shaina actually got edited.
Yes.
Well, but and then that's also what you buy into because she wanted to be on TV. Yeah. But Shaina gives me good friend vibes. She's the person you call at 3 a.m. and she's like, who the fuck, like, do I bring a bat? Do I bring ice cream? Like, what are we doing, hon? Like, she gives me good friend vibes because if you analyze her apologies, the only ones that were heartfelt and actually showed remorse and she spoke what she did was to the women. And the guys, it was shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And I love
that. And so Shaina gives me good friend vibes, and she might be messy in her family. It's clearly MAGA, but it's also like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's not all of you, and maybe a little bit of therapy and a lobotomy to get you out of the MAGA cult. But like, she gives me good friend vibes of like, oh no, I'm bringing the bottle of wine and ice cream, and you're gonna talk until you get this scrub out of your system. So
and like,
that's a good choice.
Like, when she's like, I need my partner to be like my spiritual leader, like, that is the complete opposite of anything remotely something I think is good or anything. But like, also, if that's what you want, like, if
that's literally the entire like American economic market is under people who believe that. And is their home filled with home goods memorabilia and home goods art? Yes. And is she going to have like that perfect family, boy, girl, and her spiritual advisor husband? You know, some people need that, but they're not trash because of that would sooner saw off my leg. But it doesn't mean like she's like holy trash like I thought last time. And she actually gives like a good person vibe.
And
you know what I mean?
Which is, I think we're giving her a lot with, but like, I'm okay with that.
But no, I mean, I just mean at the very latest, like if I saw her on the street, like if I bumped into her, like in Chicago, or if we saw something stupid happening on the streets, like we'd probably look at each other and laugh. And I'm like, oh, like, you know, good vibe. But not like, I'm not going to go to brunch with her. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not going to talk to her about intersectionality.
Yes. I think the last people that I'm buying their stock is just Nick and Vanessa. Like,
clearly that's both of us because we're watching the ultimatum. Yes. We are forever forged as one. They won. Actually, if we're doing power rankings, they actually won the reunion.
100%, and no one was more shocked than I was.
Same here.
Oh my God.
They gave us content, unscripted. They give us a window into their marriage counseling. Yeah. They brought back, they talked about Jessica so much that Jessica should get paid royalty fees. We got everything, and I am invigorated.
Me too. And like, just in 2022 to get Nick and Vanessa content and for them to be doing well career-wise.
Oh,
wow.
They're building an okay. When I saw that they were hosting the ultimatum, but I was like, wait a minute, they're not even hosting. I bet you Nick pitched this. He was in the middle of writing What's Left of Me Part 2, and he's like, I got an idea.
It's all coming to me.
I got an idea.
Oh my God. Like, it's just the fucking Ken doll of Nick Lachey.
Remember when 98 Degrees, like when they would do like the rankings of like the boy band that day, like NSYNC was like the soulful ones, Backstreet Boys were the quintessential pop ones, and then 98 Degrees was the one that would beat up both of those guys. I just miss those days. I miss the late 90s.
Me too. And they're going to be in Mexico, so maybe he'll be back in like a black cutoff like tank top, and we'll see the sun tattoo, and everything will be right.
And Give Me One More Night. Una noche. Okay, it's just good. There's so many. The amount of content he has for new songs.
Oh my
God! Like, it's gonna be Give Me One More Night, Una Noche Part 2. It's gonna be What's Left of Me Part 2. It's gonna be It's the Hardest Thing Part 3. Oh, we have content for days.
We truly do.
Are we selling stock, or do our followers like already know who we're selling?
I'm selling Shake. I'm selling Kyle. I'm selling. I'm selling Sal. I'm selling. Honestly, Shayne, I think he stayed, the stock for him, I don't think he did bad. I don't think he did good. He just stayed the same. So I'm not buying, but I'm watching.
Well, I will tell you now that he is Theranos stock. So it's going to be kind of like up and down and crash. Yeah. Because it's all a lie.
Yeah.
So Shayne is Theranos stock, and I'm already selling because I could, he shouldn't have ended on berating Natalie for an apology. I probably would have bought his stock. When he did that, I was like, oh, this is Theranos stock. And I don't want it. And Nick, Salvador, and Abhishek, they're the Great Depression. So they actually crashed the stock market, and inflation is up.
And it cost me $100 to fill my gas tank.
Peanut butter sandwiches and drinking water out of a hose.
Yeah, this is why I was drinking water, because I didn't have coffee grounds. I'm going to eat a dried saltine cracker after this and call it a day.
And I think that's a perfect place to end. Full circle with the water. I truly enjoyed this Love is Blind journey with you. I'm going to go get a lobotomy and a psyche eval for myself because I think I'm unwell, but I'm just so grateful for you and your analyses and your points, and you've made me laugh like no other in the last few months, and I'm just like, I love that we're gonna continue doing this.
Same. I told Sophie this like Monday. I was like, I was one of those fucking obnoxious people, like kind of dancing while I was like making my coffee. I was like, who the fuck is this person? Usually I'm like depressed. It's Monday. I'm like fighting for my life. And I was like kind of like, and there was no music. And I was just kind of like.
The way you were just bopping there, I was like, give me this one night.
I put on Nick Lachey. I was like, who is this person? Is this person happy? There's some insight into me, but like I just like, yeah, I was just thrilled. I spent my week smiling. I replayed those clips. Goodness. I was cutting clips. I was on iMovie, like figuring out cut clips. I was replaying.
And I was like, send those clips to me.
I
want to save camera roll like a fucking like Kris Jenner. Oh my god.
I'm like looking up how to make an Instagram reel. Like didn't figure it out. But
oh no, my face hurts. My face hurts.
Like could only get it onto YouTube. like
and I was like, okay, then you're gonna have to give me this now, and I'll turn it to a reel, and then I'll be able to share it to you on Instagram. Oh, it was such a fun week. And I just this collaboration, I'm just so grateful. Like honestly, 2022 can like go to shit, but I'm just grateful for this collab.
Me too. Thank you so much, and see you at the ultimatum, everybody.
Hey, that's what's next. Oh my goodness, I love this for us. but especially for obviously Nick and Vanessa clearly Lachey, like they are the real winners of this Love Is Blind
Absolutely.
season, and we got to give credit where credit's due, y'all. We got to.
We have to. Okay, Sophie, this was a pleasure.
Beyond honored. I don't know a better person.
Oh, stop! Like I'm literally stop.
I'm gonna put that Oprah gif, like where she's just crying, and I think all they asked her about was bread, and you're like, I don't know a better person. I'm gonna put with this episode.
Okay. Fucking love that. Okay. I'm gonna stop. This is my job. Last time I forgot. I'm pressing stop. Bye, everybody. And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Sophie for joining me again today to talk about Love Is Blind. As we mentioned, we're going to cover the ultimatum. I couldn't be more excited about this partnership and collaboration. So get ready for more content from Sophie and I coming in April. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can leave me a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you think that one of your friends would like this episode, send it to them, share it on socials. That helps new listeners find the podcast. I hope you are all safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Torry, and I'm ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.